That's you.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this edition of No Limits with Kristen Andre. I am here today with my sidekick and my co-host, the marvelous Miss Mendoza. We are coming to you live from our respective offices.
Yes.
So once again, in quarantine. It's a quarantine edition.
Yes.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Doing okay.
Here's what we're diving into today, because you and I were chatting a little bit before we went on air, and we're going to call this episode "Time to Assess." Because I don't know about you, but we're spending a lot of time by ourselves. Some of us are spending time with people we like to be around. Some people are spending time with people they aren't loving to be around as much.
Yeah.
But either way, it's given us all this time to kind of figure out what this new normal looks like. So I've been spending a lot of time, for me, obviously a lot of time on business, because I've had to completely shift my practice and the way I work. And obviously I'm not doing any speaking right now. We've had to go remote as opposed to being in studio. So a lot of changes. But I've been spending a lot of time trying to figure out what this is going to look like after, kind of what the new normal is, and not just what it is, but what I want it to be. So it's, for me, it's a time of assessment. Have you been doing any of that yourself?
Yes. And there, I'm gonna let you say the quote, but it's a good quote. Yeah, that came out, and I think maybe I saw it maybe it was your email. I think it was your email, because you had it on the side. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that is so good. Okay, I'm gonna let you say it though.
All right, so here's what started this conversation. So you guys that have listened before know that Whitney and I are huge Rachel Hollis fans. Love Rachel Hollis. She's like my younger soul sister, I think. But her husband Dave had this quote that I'd seen, and I put it in my newsletter this week because I just love it. And so Dave Hollis said, "In the rush to return to normal, use this time to consider which parts of normal are worth rushing back to." And I just thought that was just incredible. Yeah. Because we're so busy right now navigating. The first couple weeks, this is my third full week at home. So actually third or fourth?
I think we're going into fourth.
I think we're going into the fourth week. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. So this is my fourth full week at home.
Yeah.
And, the first couple of weeks, it was establishing the new normal. It was, what do I want things to look like? How's my office set up? I work from home a lot already, so it wasn't as big of a transition for me, but it was a lot of helping my clients navigate that. And then I read this quote from Dave, and I'm like, man, that's so poignant, because I don't know that I want to rush back to the craziness before, all the shuttles around sporting events and practices and this and that, and, going out and all that type of stuff. I think there's so many things I would take off. I'm actually starting to keep a little list of what things I don't want to be as actively involved in when this all is said and done and we're allowed out of our houses again.
Yeah.
What have you found?
Well, Isaac and I, it's interesting because we've thrown off several ideas of the things that we don't want to rush back into, but then also the things that we need to do more of, because this has been a forcing of, if you are that person that's going, and you think you've got an idea in your head of something that you want to do and you just haven't had the time to do it, it's opened up the time. So starting a second business, or cleaning the house, cleaning the garage, starting a garden, whatever that thing is.
Yep.
You've got the time now. And then also, if you already have too much on your plate, it's allowed you to just relax, right? So like, I brought up this example of Taylor Swift. She did Americana, I think, is on Netflix.
I don't know the T Swift albums, but I do like me some Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she did this, I guess, mini series or docu series, whatever, on Netflix, and something that she said in the middle, she was between 1989 and Reputation, and all the stuff with Kanye was going on. And she said, you know what, I felt like all this stuff was hitting me. I knew I needed to come out with another album. I felt like nobody wanted me. Everyone hated me, right? Because, of course, this is all blowing up on social media. And so she said, I just disappeared for a year, which was true, right? Like, she went off social media. We couldn't get pictures of her, right? The paparazzi couldn't find her, all this stuff. And I'm like, you know what? And this is not against Taylor, this is more of how many times in our life have we said, you know what, if I could just disappear for like a week.
And if we don't have Taylor's checkbook, we can't really do that.
Exactly.
But
You
now
can't.
we're being forced to do that.
Exactly. Yes. And that's what this has done.
I really like it because you know how my famous saying is, "You're not for everyone," and I think this is really forcing us all to figure out what we want to rush back to. I'm, for one, from a client standpoint and a friend standpoint, I'm using this time to engage more. I am doing Zoom happy hours and Zoom coffees, and I'm having great conversations. I'm also determining there's some people, that I'm friends with, that I'll have conversations that they're just either there's not as much in common, or they're not very deep conversationalists. It's very surfacey, where I'm like, I don't really know that that's a relationship I'm going to want to invest in as much moving forward, because I think you're starting to see more and more who your people are during this time.
Yes.
Who you can still connect with, who you can have some, substance with your conversations. It's been a unique thing.
Yeah.
And that's the people thing, who's for you people wise. But activities, like you mentioned, cleaning the house. My house is friggin' spotless right now. It is not even funny. My oldest came home. I'm paying her to clean stuff. Like, she's cleaned out her sister's rooms. Goodwill, we're going to need a truck to take everything to Goodwill when this is done.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like clean. I'm a minimalist. I like clean. I like organization. So I've spent time doing that. I've actually done some exercise, not a ton, but I'm doing like a little 30-day challenge with a group of women from the firm I used to work for. And that's been fantastic. So, but I've kind of cut out a lot of the things that I'm like, I didn't really like doing that in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's been neat. I don't know about you. I hope we can stay this way. Like, I'm using it for me personally. Connection is a big thing with me, and with the people that are my people. Like, I'm really trying to use this time to find my people. I feel like I've already done it, but to connect deeper with them, even though we're remote. So it's really proving to me that we all have we have enough time. We have enough time for anything we'd want to do.
Right.
People are, and part of it too is what's been interesting is, I use this time, I'm a type A, I'm a driver. So, I use this time to write and to create things and to connect with clients. But some of my friends and clients are like, I'm just using this time to chill, to be totally, and that's okay too. I think for a lot of people, this hit the pause button and gave them an opportunity to just rest.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's an excellent way to use time as well, if that's what your kind of heart is feeling you called to do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And it's given us that moment to exactly what you said, pause and reassess. A lot of people are saying that this is the new normal, and that when things go back to some other type of normal, it's going to be the two normals mixed. And I too like that idea, right? Like, even I was talking to someone this morning in the healthcare sector that, like, you don't have to go to the doctor's office every time you need something. Right. Allow that space for someone else who really does physically need to be there, where you don't have to. And in a sense, we're still protecting each other, right? Like, a lot of the conversation has been the flu has killed more each year than the coronavirus, right? So then, okay, let's stay home a little bit longer during flu season and see if we can, benefit that situation in other ways. But I think the hardest thing right now is feeling like we can't go anywhere, right? Because the thing that's been the hardest for me is not so much being at home, it's that I can't go see my grandmother, see my father, out to dinner, or, and even when you just go to Target, you kind of feel strange, right? Because you're being really careful about what you're touching, and you're trying not to get too close to people. Yeah.
But that's what I really want to encourage people to do with this time, is like, what's worth rushing back to. Because let's use Target, for example, because any of the women listening know this.
Yes.
Go to Target, you're like, I need, I don't know, a roll of toilet paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you spend $900.
Yes. Yeah.
I also need a vacuum cleaner and a sofa and 8 outfits. But
yes, exactly.
It was funny. We were sitting around this weekend, my oldest and I don't know, it was like 2 p.m. I'd done all the work that I had sat out, that I'd made a list to do that day. It's like 2 o'clock, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, what do we normally do on weekends? Because, like, normally I feel like we're busy and there's no time to fit it all in. So part of it, I wonder how many of the things on our list that we did before in our old normal were things that we were doing out of boredom.
Right. Yeah.
it's like, I don't have anything to do. I'm kind of bored. I'll just drive to Target. When we probably didn't need anything there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's my encouragement, what I'm doing for myself and what I've encouraged other people and I'm encouraging my clients to do is start making a list. I mean, have that T-chart where these are the things that I miss that I just cannot wait to do.
Yeah.
We had our small business panel on a couple weeks ago. I can't wait to go to my friends' restaurants. I can't wait to just, support them and hug my girlfriends and all that type of stuff. But then I also want people to make a list of what's okay if I miss it. What are the things where the boredom run to Target or the boredom run to Home Goods or TJ Maxx to pick up 900 candles, whatever it is. It's just trying to figure out where the balance is between it. Because I feel like I was so hurried before. I have an odd sense of calm, I think. Maybe because we're in week 4 and it's starting to feel like Groundhog Day. Yeah. But it's just trying to embrace the chaos and embrace the new normal.
Yeah. Yeah, we were totally guilty of that. We would, Isaac and I both like working, so we work because we enjoy it. Yeah. But then we'd be like, okay, let's go to Target, and that would be our get out, right? Like we would do the Starbucks thing, and we would walk around Target with our Starbucks, and we totally did that, yeah. So
it's true, though. I mean, we do so many things we do either out of habit or out of obligation.
Yeah.
And this is we've been given, I don't want to call it a gift, but we've been given an opportunity to hit pause and to figure out, okay, what's my new normal? Mm-hmm. What do I want it? Just like Dave's quote, what's worth rushing back to? Mm-hmm. So when this is said and done and we're allowed out of our house, I don't know. I think there's going to be a mad dash to restaurants, like locally owned restaurants. I do think it's pulling people together. Yeah. We were looking yesterday. I made a social engagement challenge that I posted on my website and on my social pages, just trying to get people engaged with clients and prospects for the month of April. So the other day it was, get lunch from a local restaurant. One was buy a gift card to it. So we did that. It's been fun things. So I think those things are kind of cool that I'm like, yeah, I like that. It's something different. But the obligation stuff is just not for me anymore, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, and I've even looked at it again, back to David's quote of, okay, what can I do now to kind of prepare for when we are able to get out and go meet in person? And like one of my ideas was, we've been more productive here, at home, or even if you want to call it the office when you're able to go back. But something that entered my mind was the time blocking idea that we've talked about before, where, okay, if Thursdays are sales days where I'm going out and meeting with people, then that should be my day, because the driving to go to different places really is taking up extra time. And when you stop and think about it, it does eat into everything else you're trying to do. Even though, yes, you need to sell for your business and you need to go and you need to meet people. If that's all you're doing, then you're not able to do any of the execution piece of like, okay, great, I've got the clients, now I need to keep them.
Right, and it's true. I had a conversation yesterday, a call with one of my clients. He's a financial advisor, and he's been, he's normally very busy. He's got a very successful practice. He's a phenomenal advisor. And he was saying, he's like, yeah, I had 20 appointments last week. And he lives in Atlanta. You can't have 20 appointments in Atlanta if you're driving to every one of them. You're working 90 hours. But he's created such a level of efficiency, and his clients appreciate it, and he can have really good in-depth conversations either on the phone or via Zoom. You can still see people, you can still share the screen. So there's so many opportunities for us to create efficiencies and to time block and really put things together. Yeah. But at the same time, that's only going to work if we take off the things that aren't meant for us and I don't want to say get rid of the people, but minimize our time with the people that aren't meant for us. Yeah. And I think that's what's helping. I mean, you've, with my book I've coming out this summer, You're Not For Everyone, I realized that a while ago. This is just giving us all an opportunity to say, you're not my person, you're not my person, and you're not my thing. So it's just a really big opportunity. Yeah. I've
also feel it's forced us to listen. So speaking of quotes, this was more of a meme, but someone had posted a picture of Dave Ramsey, and the caption on the top was, when you've been telling people for 30 years that they need to have 6 months of 6 months of living in reserve, right, for a crisis, and everyone's like, no, you'll be fine, and everyone's like, no, this is kind of what he was talking about, which is something no one could have ever planned for, but it's like, he had a point. Like you need to, and then I even back up from that on like Zoom, because there have been people who, if they are not as comfortable with technology, or they're not as comfortable with Zoom, like you got to learn now. You are being forced to learn now. So this is another chalk it up to next time we'll be more prepared.
I think we will be. And it's, Zoom, I have fun with Zoom. I used it before. But we had a joke last week, and one of my girlfriends had a birthday party, and we did it virtually.
Yeah.
It's about 10 you could easily tell who's using Zoom for work and who's not.
Yeah.
It's not enough for everybody. But it took 10 minutes, and there are a couple people where we're looking at the ceiling the whole time. We're like,
yeah,
use your screen. But it's, it's a cool tool. And whether you use it, if we can teach grandma how to use it, where we can Zoom her and see the grandkids, because I have seen some of that when you're thinking about who you're for and who you want to rush back to. There are people that we don't, the people in nursing homes, I've seen people talk about that, grandma and grandpa that we don't get to visit. There's all these ways we can connect with people that don't necessarily mean we're eyeball to eyeball, that we're not going to visit them. So I'm hoping that people take this as an opportunity to say, okay, here's an opportunity for me to connect with people that I wasn't maximizing before.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. So what are you spending your days doing then? What are you finding, Miss Mendoza, you're loving, and what are you finding like I could probably take these off the list?
Yeah. I do like the Zoom, being able to meet on Zoom, because you can schedule all those in a certain part of your day and kind of, for lack of a better way of saying it, get them all out of the way, right? Like you can get all your Zoom meetings and stack them up, and then the rest of your day is reserved for the other things that you need to get done. So that's a large part of what we've been doing. Is I'm like, okay, I got Zooms in the morning, and then I know in the afternoon, these are the things that I need to get done. So, and I've traditionally been a write it down calendar girl. And what I was finding, it was after a show that you and I did, but what I was finding is I was writing notes and writing things in the calendar. Number one, they're hard to move, right? So like if I don't get something done on Monday and it's Wednesday, that means I can't just pick it on the page and move it like I can on a digital calendar.
I do mine digitally.
Yes, it is much easier to move. But not only that, I found I was forgetting where I'd written down a particular thing. So I remembered writing it down, but I couldn't remember what page it was on, and I was wasting time kind of flipping back and forth. And so part of what I've used this time for is say, okay, clearly I need to do more digital keeping of notes in my calendar. And so I've been shifting everything over from paper to digital on my end.
Yeah. I'm a digital person too. I do have some clients that prefer the paper and what's worked well for them, because it is hard to write it in your calendar. You find yourself flipping back through and trying to find it. So those clients, what I've done is, the little, I have one right here, the little journals that are like this, they use the journal as a to-do list. And I tell people, don't mark through it when you've done it, highlight it, use your little trusty highlighter and just highlight it. So then you're keeping a running list and you can easily go back and see what's left, what's been done. So once you highlight it, you put the date beside it that you did it. And it's just, if you have to keep things manually on paper, that's just a really good, I like Post-it notes if I'm making notes in a book or something, but as far as to-do list, it's got to stay in one place or you're going to be all over the board. You're going to lose them. So I like the little journals for people that have to keep it manually.
Yeah. And you really do have to make a commitment to one system. Because I was like, because to me, the writing of it would help me remember it. And I'm like, I'll write it down and then I'll convert it into my digital system.
Right. Yeah.
It didn't happen.
Mine goes right in my digital. All my to-dos go right in my digital system. But I'm fully digital. Now what's funny is I'm fully digital as far as calendar and task and things like that. I don't like digital books. One of the things I have, because I'm a big reader, but one of the things I've determined through this, I don't like audiobooks and I don't like Kindle.
Me either.
I like to write. And if you ever borrowed a book from me, I write notes in it. I write in the margin. I highlight things. I dog ear things. I put notes in it. I love to tear a book apart like that. But I can't, like the Audible one, my attention span is not there.
Yes. No, I agree. I'm the same.
Yeah. So I've tried it. It just doesn't work for me.
Well, it's almost like the book, if you are so digital, like our jobs and what we do is digital anyway, we're constantly in front of the computer. And especially now, like I feel that allows you, that's an escape, right? It's a, okay, like I take the book, I go out on the balcony, I'm like, okay, I'm going to read for 30 minutes to an hour and just, it's a little bit of an escape. It gives my eyes a rest. It puts my mind in a different spot, and then I can get refreshed and come back in and do work. But I'm the same. I love having a physical book in my hand.
I think it's, I think it's going to be an awesome opportunity to kind of figure, even with things like that, like what's going on that we're enjoying, because I think it's going to be different from everybody. My hope, like I said, is that people use this time to figure out, all right, what am I loving and what am I thinking I could probably do without.
Yeah. Love it.
I don't know, from most people, I have clients and friends in Manhattan. I talked with a client friend yesterday in Michigan, and there's a lot of places where they're just really struggling right now. So I think this is going to go on a little bit longer. So again, I'd encourage you guys listening, write the list, write this down. These are my things that I want to do, and do them now. Like I'm really big on connecting with clients. I think this is a huge opportunity to do that, to connect with clients and prospects. I think it's a huge opportunity to scale your business or to launch a new business. Like, it's really, if you guys haven't seen this, Sarah Blakely, through a foundation, she's donating $5 million. She's donating $5,000 to 1,000 different women who are looking to either grow their business or launch a business. This is a phenomenal time to launch a new business, a side hustle, anything like that. So if you're not, you guys know my background's in finance. So if you're not happy with where you are financially, leverage this time. Use this as an opportunity to say, okay, I'm going to create something new. I'm going to launch something new, or I'm going to pivot or grow what I already have.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, you're working anyway. You're at home.
Exactly.
Might as well use your powers for good.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And there's so many things that can be done online too.
Yeah.
So on, starting a blog or anything like that, you said a side hustle, or again, like if you don't have a business plan, right? Like if you're like, I've got an idea and it needs to be a brick and mortar, write down your business plan now, because you're going to be that much more ahead when we're able to go out and you can hit the ground with feet running. So
you're going to definitely be, it's funny, my coaching clients, the ones I've talked to that are really making the most of this and are totally scaling and growing this time, they're not pausing. They're pausing to evaluate, but they're not pausing their action. So when I say the time of pause, it's a time of reflection. It's a time to look and see, okay, what are my opportunities? It is not a time to pause your activity and your actions. This is a time where you're sitting at home, you can double them. A lot of my clients are doubling down on the number of people they're talking to, the phone calls they're making, the people they're connecting with, because they've got time to do it. So if the ones I'm seeing really, really thrive right now in this economy are the ones that are they're doubling down on their activity.
Yep. Wendy came in on Facebook and said she likes a physical book as well. She's a highlighter, so she goes through and highlights notes. Yeah, I totally did the same.
I'm with you, Wendy, because it's kind of I was trying to find it on Facebook and I go back and check them a lot too. And for some reason, I don't know what it is about, like, I seriously have my highlighter right here.
Yeah.
Something about when I go back and review it, but I don't know if it's when I highlight it or underline it that I feel like I remember it better. It's like, okay, in my brain. It's something about the little yellow line. It's like in my brain. So I totally love the highlighting.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I also love something that we talked about, because of course we have our book club, and the ladies. Yes. And so typically what we would do is, if once we finished a book that we'd love, we'd bring it into the office, and we've got a bookshelf where anyone in the office can then pick it up, take it home and read it. And of course we can't do that now. So we're like, we think we're going to start like sending care packages to one another with like, here's the book, and just mail these books to ourselves.
That's a good thing to do. I'm not at the stage where I'm like wiping down the mail yet or anything.
Yeah.
But if you want to send care packages, what would you do with a book? Get a cute little blanket, a nice little pair of fuzzy socks. There are things you can order all this stuff on Amazon, put together some care packets and send it out to people. Yeah. Send a book, a highlighter, and a pair of fuzzy socks. I think those are things where the more creative you can get, the more, and you can engage with people, they're going to remember that after this is all over.
Yeah.
I think it's a great time to be reading for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've definitely, I think 1, 2, 3, 4. I've finished at least 4 books that I can see in my eyesight since we've been in quarantine. It usually takes me a month.
Yeah. Let's see, what is it? Kristen saying, I highlight things that speak to my soul so that I can get back to so I can get back to it quick. That's what I do. I read it when I same way, Kristen, when I get that feeling, I'm like, oh, I love that. Then I highlight it. So
yeah.
You better be highlighting some stuff in my book, Miss Wendy.
Oh, wait. I do. Let's see.
So I've mentioned on the show before, I've got a book coming out this summer. Whitney has graciously agreed to be one of my beta readers. So she is she's marking up as we speak. So I've got it out to, I think we have 6 beta readers right now. And I'm hearing feedback from them, which is cool. So it's kind of neat. It's like you put it out there and you're like, I hope everybody likes it. But it's been fun. I'm getting good feedback on it. But it's a good time for this now because the whole book focuses on finding your people and what's meant for you, the people and things and activities. So it's a great time. So hopefully you're grinning. So you're like,
There's so much I want to say and I can't yet.
Say whatever you want. I don't care. You can give a preview to what's in there, but I think there's you can share it.
Well, I do. So I will share. I am not all the way through. I think I'm on your. I'm still in part 1. Are you for everyone? And so what I'm fixing to enter into is holding yourself back and self-sabotage. But what I've gone through is, and some of it we've talked about on the show before, but the fear of the edges. So rounding yourself out so you're not too loud, too quiet, or any of those things that we all think we need to be, and the people pleaser. And what I really like out of your book is you have both the litmus test of, is this you? So you've got these questions to go through, and some of them I've been like, yes, that is me. And then others, after you get through that, you've actually got steps like 1 through 5 of like, okay, if that's where you are, and you know this is something that you want to adjust in your life, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of how you can literally go out and do that. And I love that. I love actions where I'm like, cool, okay, great, got this thing I want to fix, how in the world do I do it?
And that's so funny because the way I write, I mean, I'm a strategist. That's my, I am a business strategist and performance coach. So I don't want to just uncover a problem because I think there's too many books and people and professionals and managers, honestly, that uncover a problem and then they don't give people the strategies they need to address it.
Yes.
And that's what I really want to get out there is like, how do we, if this is a challenge, how do we address it? How do we, make ourselves a little bit stronger version or closer to the version that we want to be?
Yeah. And I like your stories in there. I'm like, okay.
I've got some fun stories in there. Yeah. There are a couple that'll be coming up later if you're in part 1 that I think my closer friends probably know, but I think there'll be a couple stories people read and like, oh, okay, I didn't know this. So I buried a few things in there, but it should be a fun read. I'm excited because my goal is helping people grow into the person they're meant to be and use their gifts and use their skills. And that looks so different for everybody. Like even with my coaching clients, no two are the same. I'm working on strategies with all of them, but it's not cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Like what's going to make one financial advisor good is the total opposite of what's going to make another. And I see, some of the companies that I've worked for and consulted with in the past, they're so cookie cutter. They're so homogenous. And they wonder why they're losing people, and they're wondering why half the people are performing at a mediocre level. It's because you're so insulated. They're only open to listening to their ideas and the way it's always been done. And if you can't pivot and you can't learn to embrace things that are personalized and custom to somebody's strengths and abilities and skills and personalities, you're going to stay flat. My whole goal with everybody, my tagline is coach, challenge, empower. And that looks different for every single person I work with. I've got some people who are like, hey, I just want to, make X amount of dollars and have time with my family and, get to go to the lake on the weekend. All right, that's perfect. And I have some guys that like, I don't care about this, that, or that. I want to make $5 million a year. Okay. So let's, it's really trying to uncover what their goal is and what the why is behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited. I think I've been really enjoying it.
Good. I'm glad.
So.
Yay. All right. So as we move forward, we've got a couple things. One, I want everybody really to think through what we were talking about early. Write down what you want coming out of this. So let me repeat Dave's quote to us again, Dave Hollis. It says, in the rush to return to normal, use this time to consider which parts of normal are worth rushing back to. So take time to write down what you can't wait to rush back to. And when you rush back, I want you to rush. I want this to be the, right, you know, that scene from the chick flick where they're running through the airport, like that kind of rushing back. Yeah. I want you to be that excited about it. And if there's not that level of excitement, maybe it needs to go in the other column of the things that, like, I'm going to take off the list after all this craziness is over. And then secondly, just so you guys know, I'll put a link in the comments too. We're doing a free webinar this Thursday. I'm getting a lot of questions and clients from people, or questions from clients and prospects, and just my network of like, all right, how are you pivoting? How are you doing this? How are you connecting with people? So that's what we're going to cover on it's Thursday at noon Eastern. It's called Connecting with Clients and Scaling Your Business. So if you're challenged right now with what do I do? How do I pivot? What can I be doing during this time that doesn't sound salesy? Because I get that a lot. It's like, hey, I don't want to be opportunistic. I don't want to be, trying to sound too salesy in the midst of everything people have going on. So that's what we're talking about Thursday. Is this is a great time and people need us and they need help. So we're going to offer this webinar just to kind of help everybody through that. So we've got a few spots. I checked the registration this morning. We still got a few spots open. So if you want to jump on it, we'll put the link in the comments.
Nice. I'm going to be there. I already signed up.
I already saw you. So I'm like, okay, Wendy's got. So
yes.
I think it'll be great. It's the clients that I'm working with, fortunately, they're embracing. I've got a couple that I've had to talk off the ledge the first couple weeks.
Yep.
It's a big difference, and it's one of my clients yesterday has 4 children under the age of 6.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot when you're home with 4 children under the age of 6.
Yeah.
Another one that has kids at that age where they're just loud. They're just very loud children. And there's nothing wrong with that. They're kids. That's what they do. But it's trying to figure out, how do we navigate that?
Yeah.
And showing, I said this every show we've been on, showing some grace to the people out there that are, might be struggling a little bit right now.
Yeah. Love it.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys will tune in. Thank you, Miss Whitney, as always, for being here.
Of course. No, I love it. Every time. Awesome.
Make your list, figure out what you're going to rush back to and what you're not. Leave us some comments. Let us know what's important to you, what you're excited to get back to, and what things you're willing to ditch. Let us know in the comments. And then we will be back with you next Tuesday at 9 a.m. And until then, keep pushing. Take care.